Your Royal Highness, Prince of Asturias and Girona, Mayor of Barcelona, President of Mobile World Capital, Delegate of the Government of Spain in Catalonia, Secretary of State, Chief Executive Officer of ICEX, ladies and gentlemen, bon dia, buenos días, good morning and good day. On behalf of ICEX, I am very pleased to express to all of you a warm welcome to Barcelona, to the 4 years from now event, and particularly to this panel on keys to become a global startup, which will start with the opening words that the Chief Executive Officer of ICEX will address to us. Ms. González Izquierdo, I would like to invite you to take the floor.
Your Royal Highness, Mayor of Barcelona and President of Mobile World Capital, Delegate of the Government of Spain in Catalonia, Secretary of State, entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate on behalf of ICEX, Spain Trade and Investment, an entity belonging to the Spanish Ministry of Economy, the very warm welcome to all of you to this 4 years from now event. This is an event which takes place for the first time, and from ICEX we very proudly support it because we think it's a landmark of those initiatives that we have when it comes to promote high-tech and high-value added sectors internationalization, and especially when it comes to ITC. ITC is definitely one of our priorities in terms both of exports and investment, and we work hard on it, not only with our team and with our co-partners, but especially with the Secretariat of State for Telecommunications, which is a key counterpart without whom we could not go forward. It will not come as a surprise if we underline that innovation and internationalization are really two parts of the same coin, two sides of the same coin, sorry. And that's the case increasingly with Spanish companies. Spanish companies are nowadays at the forefront of global innovation. And this is not something that we simply say ourselves. You can consult and double-check with any kind of prestigious international rankings, say Public Works Finance when it comes to infrastructure, Massachusetts Institute of Technology reviews when it comes to different technology sectors, startup competitions such as those which take part in Silicon Valley, and select for their awards Spanish companies. And this great capacity that Spanish companies and competitiveness that they are showing when it comes to innovation and technology is one of the keys which explains the extraordinary success that our external sector has achieved during the last years. Again, let me quote data coming from very relevant international institutions. In 2013, Spain was the country within the Eurozone with the highest rate of growth for its exports. According to the World Trade Organization, in the first semester of 2013, these are the latest available data, amongst the 30 largest exporters in the world, Spain was the third one which exports grew at the highest rate. The first ones were the United Kingdom and the Republic of China. And let's take into account that both the renminbi and the sterling pound went through a devaluation during that period, which was not the case of the euro. And our data are also remarkable when it comes to attracting foreign direct investment. As you know, the year 2012 was not a good year worldwide for FDI flows. Actually, they were reduced by 18%. But this decrease was even more dramatic when it came to FDI coming to developed countries. In that case, the decrease was of 32%. And it was even worse when we analyzed FDI coming to the European Union. There it was 41%. However, FDI coming to Spain in 2012 grew by 3.5%, thanks also to the great attractiveness that our companies show. In order to help Spanish companies take advantage of market opportunities in high-tech sectors, from ICEX, we work with a network of 100 economic and commercial offices at the embassies of Spain all around the world. There we have experts which can advise you on which markets to choose, which are the current trends, which is the legal and fiscal and work labor force frameworks applicable, etc. We organize very specific events. Every year, you can check that here at ICEX stand and also in our website. We organize in these sectors about 20 participations in the major high-tech trade fairs all around the world, say the MBA in Las Vegas or the IBC in Amsterdam. Together with the Secretary of State for Telecommunications through Red.es and with Santander, we have organized what we call the Spain Tech Center in San Francisco. We know that Silicon Valley is a key place where it's not so easy sometimes to survive at the beginning. And therefore, we offer you very specialized and high added value services in order to design and implement the launching of your strategy if you are interested in this market. The success of our Spain Tech Center in San Francisco has encouraged us, together with our partners, to open very soon another one in London that we will put also, of course, it will be fully at your disposal. Apart from global activities, group activities, we have specific programs for any company, especially in these sectors where companies are basically born global, to give you advice from the very beginning, even on how to start your marketing strategy internationally, giving you strategic consulting here at home. We must acknowledge, and we are very happy to do so, that companies coming from this region, from Catalonia, are the most active ones participating with us in this kind of programs. And finally, there are several initiatives during the year which we organize with business angels, we organize elevators, pitch, and so on, so that we can put you in touch with domestic and foreign capital. Probably, in this regard, nothing best than watching the following video called Investing in Spanish Entrepreneurs. Thank you to you all. Thanks.
It seems that most of the news broadcasts about Spain's economy are negative.
The internal market obviously has struggled with the recession, but again, we don't think of it as the 50 million Spaniards as the customer. You think of it as a highly skilled workforce that can bring you to Latin America.
The United States, we have a lot of crisis and we see a lot of layoffs. And what happens is companies, individuals that work in large companies decide to start their own business. Same thing is happening in Spain.
However, savvy venture investors know a hidden truth. Money is made by thinking differently.
I moved the company to New York, raised $10 million, built a big team, sold the company to Singtel, the second largest telecom operator in the world.
We recently got the investment from a Swiss investment group, private equity, which is called Partners Group, which bought 30% of our equity for about 82 million euros.
Partnering with Sequoia is very important, but for us, what really excites us is seeing that we have over 16,000 games working with us, and that's really our success.
Living Social, which bought us on January 2012, becoming one of the most relevant European e-commerce transactions.
I've been funding the company by myself, and now we are raising 5 million here among Silicon Valley VCs.
We just closed a round of funding with the Intel and Inver ready. So that gives us the funds to actually go and try harder.
If you're looking for raw talent, refined skills, outstanding resilience, and look no further.
Investing in Hispanic entrepreneurs has been a great experience for us. We were the lead investors in a company called Alienable, which were a number of Hispanic entrepreneurs in Madrid. They had an open source project.
We found is that they're very highly trained computer scientists. Computer scientists are very hard to hire in the US, and we've seen some very highly educated people coming out of all the major universities in Spain with great technical skills.
So we have the best 25 engineers here in New York. We have the best people in Spain, in Argentina, and we are looking for the best of the best wherever they are.
The engineer team is in Spain. We have in Madrid and in Granada, we have around 40-50 people.
We are a team of 25 people right now, mostly engineers and sales and marketing people, and we expect to more than double the size of the team by the end of this year.
Spanish entrepreneurs have designed unique products to conquer a competitive global marketplace.
We founded Olopic 2 years ago to help retailers increase sales by using user-generated photos that we pull from Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
24 Symbols is a subscription service to read digital books on the internet. We want to become the leading subscription service in the world, so Amazon beware.
The Map Video is an online platform that allows video publishers to tag product, places, people appearing on their videos in minutes without installation.
Justimine is the leading in mobile and web prototyping now in the market. We have customers in more than 180 countries, names like Google, Intuit, Verizon.
We created an open source community, 10,000 installed base, companies from around the world and governments from around the world.
Well, we're in the business of making it easier for people to access information and services from global companies and organizations. So we create virtual people you can have conversations with.
One of the main points of our success is our technology that we developed internally, and we are offering at the moment as a wide level externally.
We are competing with huge companies like Microsoft or Google who create like massive products, but we think we can do better. And we are already commercializing with our solution.
In Spain, there is a mature investment environment to partner with.
Inverred is one of the leading VC funds in Spain, and we are therefore the perfect partner for any international VC who wants to make business in Spain.
We identify very talented entrepreneurs from Spain, and we help them to expand their businesses to the United States or to Latin America. We are the most active accelerator program in Spain.
We have a track record selling companies and migrating them to Silicon Valley. 7 of them have either moved or sold there.
Now we plan to grow in a business accelerator platform for which we are looking for customers and investors.
We are currently discussing about some VCs and some accelerators in the US who want to set a foothold in Europe and consider us as a nice alternative.
Wayra is a global startup accelerator that belongs to the Telefonica Group. 2 years ago, we decided to launch this initiative, which means creating a global network of innovation.
It's the best moment. I've been involved in this business since 2002, and I think the conditions have never been better.
So I think the moment is very good. You're going to get more entrepreneurial initiatives now than you could get when there are better times.
Stand out from the crowd. Venture further. Fortune favors the bold.
We thank Ms. González Izquierdo very much for her introductory remarks and accompanying images. Allow me to underline the title of the video, which does not refer to the simple, though important, idea of investing in Spain, but does stress the message of investing in the people, in Spanish entrepreneurs like the ones that are about to give us, together with their successful experience, a couple of useful contributions and suggestions as panelists. So, time has come to enter into the panel discussions. And to this aim, may I introduce Mr. Jordi Argente, Manager for New Market Ventures at LLC, Silicon Valley, California, as moderator of the team of the other speakers. Mr. Argente will be kind enough to personally introduce his partners on the stage. Mr. Argente, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Can you hear us well? Well, thank you, ESEX, for the invitation personally to moderate this panel. Thank you to His Royal Highness, Prince of Asturias and Girona, again for supporting entrepreneurs and technologies. Last time we met was in Silicon Valley in November last year. It was a pleasure to have you with us, helping us communicate to the investment community of Silicon Valley that we've got a top-tier technology here in Spain and top-tier entrepreneurs like we're going to meet today. Thank you also to the organizers for bringing us here to speak from entrepreneurs to entrepreneurs. And the dialogue today is about globalization of startups. So the best input is from the entrepreneurs who have already started succeeding in the globalization of their technologies. Instead of me introducing them, I'm going to introduce myself very briefly, but I want them to introduce themselves and to explain what they're doing internationally. I am based in Silicon Valley, and I help technology companies land in that area, in that geography, raise funds, and grow their businesses in North America. Eneko, if you can introduce briefly what your operation is.
Thank you. Buen día.
Espérate, no tienes.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Buen día. So.
In English.
Yes. So my name is Eneko Knorr. I'm the founder of Ludei. So I started a web hosting company that became the fifth largest in Spain and was acquired by Telefónica. And then I started a company that is what today is Ludei. Ludei is a company that started in Bilbao, in the Basque Country, in the north of Spain. And 3 years ago, I decided to move to San Francisco. I moved myself and my company because I believe that Silicon Valley is the place to be for a technology startup. So we have a team in Bilbao and a team in San Francisco, and we are growing fast. We are an HTML5 game and application development platform with 15,000 developers using it and big brands among them like Disney or Nickelodeon.
Thank you. Juan?
Hi, I'm Juan Urdiales. I'm the co-founder of Job&Talent. Job&Talent is like Tinder, but for jobs. So what we have developed is a matching platform that allows 20 single professionals to be aware about the top matching opportunities in the market for them. We started the company in 2009 in Spain, Madrid, and then in 2012 we opened our first abroad office in London. We are currently expanding our business to the US and Mexico, and we have 25 employees in Spain and 5 in London. We have the tech team in Spain because we believe that is the right place to have it, as there is a lot of amazing talent in this country, and then we're going to be expanding into new geographies, hiring salespeople.
Thank you. Javier?
Well, hi, I'm Javier de la Torre. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called CartoDB. So we are a company that helps people to visualize their data on maps.
We basically take your organizational data and allow you to put it in a map and understand the importance of location. So we have clients like Wall Street Journal, NASA, Twitter, and we basically we follow the same principles. We have an office in Madrid where we have 15 developers, and then we have an office in New York where we mainly do commercialization. So we kind of like have the same strategy where we essentially use Spain, where we basically can hire like really talented developers, and then we use United States to basically commercialize and introduce our product. So we are in total, I think it's at 17 people. So it's 15 here in Madrid, 15 in Madrid, and 2 in New York right now. I'm traveling between the two, and we have clients all around the world. We are a technical company, technology company. It's a service that you can use on internet. So we're not limited to any geography. We have clients in, I think it's right now, more than 55 different countries, but more than 70% of our revenue actually comes from the United States.
Thank you. Sergio?
Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation, for the ethics invitation again. My name is Sergio. I'm 40 years old, and I ran a company called Gigigo, who is a mobile marketing agency. We have around 85 people spread out through different countries. 55 of them are based in Madrid. Another 35 are based in Mexico, and we are growing quite fast in Brazil also, where we have an office in Sao Paulo with around 5 people. Just to give you some heads up about the company, we are making around 8 million euros in revenues at the global level, and out of these 8 million, 9 million revenues are 45, 50% are already coming from outside of Spain. And I think I'm the only one living in Madrid, actually, because all of you are living abroad. So I'm quite happy to eat still good jamón in my place, which is a little bit different from you guys.
Okay, thank you. Interesting. I think we see the common pattern of companies starting. In cases, we have a Spanish panel, so it's in Spain. Very good technology, very good engineers, good, relatively lower cost of operations here in Spain than in other international locales. But the commercial operation is overseas. And that's my first question. At what point do you think that it's the time to go international? And then when you go international, do you go by yourselves, or do you create a team in the international locales where you establish operations? Sergio, if you want to start this time.
That's the key question, actually. That's the question of the panel. The right moment to go international, it's quite easy to find. First, you need to actually look for international business as a, let's say, definition. When you are doing technical companies, when you are on the technology, let's say startups, you need to think global from the very beginning. So that's one point. Second point is when you are ready to go international. We happen to think that we were ready to go international from the very beginning, actually from the moment of starting the company, because the 2 founders, one was from Venezuela and the other one was from Spain, myself, and we thought we were international from the very beginning. So we've gone through several phases to go international, but the right moment to go international is when you have a little bit of structure, a little bit of funds, a little bit of time to waste time to go international, to leave back your local business to relevant people, to senior people. So the key point would be you need a little bit of a structure to go international. So that's a
good point. Javier?
I guess in our case, my vision might be a little bit different because we are a technology company. So we basically produce technology. It's a software. And it's a software that you sell over internet. It's a software as a service. And in that particular case, I don't think it makes any sense to not start international from day one. So I think like when we really started, we never restricted ourselves to a particular country. We knew it was going to be a service that anybody could use on internet and from any country. So I think from kind of like from when do you start selling to anywhere in the world, I think like from my point of view, if you're a technology company, I think you have to do it from day one. Now, when do you make the jump to actually set up infrastructure, an office somewhere and start hiring people? that's, of course, then it really depends also, like, you know, like how well prepared you are as a company to basically, normally it's the CEO or some management role who has to move away. And it's not only the challenges that you find on the country where you're traveling, but also the challenges that you create in your own country, because you're like taking some of the management here in Spain and moving it somewhere else. So it depends. So it helps to have co-founders, helps to have a structure in the company. Now, when you decide that you want to do, I mean, like from my point of view, I'd say if you're in a technology company, try to do it as soon as possible. At least in my experience, like I always put the example, like we arrived in New York in 2011, and we were there around March, and by September we had the Wall Street Journal already using our software for the latest US election maps, I mean during the election night. And that type of context is something that is very, very hard to get when you are outside. So you need to be part of the ecosystem, you need to be in the city, you need to talk with people, you need them to see you in person. And particularly in this case, United States, I find it like a very good market to accept innovation. So the sooner you are, the more possibility you have so that some clients understand the advantages of going with your solution. So from a technology perspective, I say as soon as possible.
Very good, thank you. Juan.
I agree. I think that you have to differentiate between two things. One is when you're actually launching internationally, and the other one is when you're starting to think internationally. In our case, and it's very similar to you guys, I think that you need that DNA of creating an international company since the beginning. And then you have to, I think that the right place to test your product is your local market. It's the best place to understand the key metrics, the CPAs, lifetime value of your users. And once you have done that in a small scale, then it's the right time to start to thinking which should be the best countries to launch your product. And in there, what we have done in our case is to do small tests before we commit the investment or before we made the decision. So before going to London, for example, we captured some clients, some companies that were willing to hire people in Spain, and we offer our services. And we discovered that they were delighted with our services and with our product, and this is when we decided to commit the investment and to jump into this new market. So I truly recommend to always start to think internationally since the beginning, because it will have some consequences into the product and into your strategy and the vision, and then start as soon as possible once you have tested your product in your local market.
Thank you. Eneko?
Yeah, in my opinion, I mean, of course, you have to start from the beginning, thinking internationally, because it's the way to go. But I don't agree with the fact of being successful. I mean, the usual model is if you are successful in your market, so you can start like expanding internationally. And sometimes that's a waste of time and money, because in some cases it depends on the company. But in some cases, your local market is a very bad market. So Spain is a very bad market if you are in the application. So who in the audience is paying for applications today? Anybody is paying for WhatsApp or other applications? So nobody is paying. So if you are focusing on the Spanish market, you are not. It's not going to be a good test, because if, that case is really bad, and that's why you really have to start thinking internationally on being everywhere. But of course, it depends on the company. If you are an e-commerce company, it's more difficult. If you are a software as a service company, so you can be everywhere from the first moment.
Very good. So we see a pattern. Think globally, think international from the very beginning, but before you launch, just make sure you've got a strong base to build from and to launch from. And the next big question that entrepreneurs will be asking, somebody starting a new company, still not having started the process of internationalization, money. How much money do I need for that internationalization? How much money do you want to have in your pocket when you start going internationally? Are we talking about $10,000, $100,000, $500,000? When you went international, how much did you budget for that endeavor? Eneko, we start to go this way.
So yeah, it's a difficult question, but if you think of a number, you have to make it like double of triples because
double of what you had anticipated.
Yeah. Because I mean, in our case, Silicon Valley is a very expensive place to live, a very expensive place to hire people, and so that's it's a difficult place to be, and so it's very expensive. Yes.
Juan.
No, in here I think that what we're doing right now is like we are committing the next expansion and the next countries that we're going to be launching. What we're doing is like small tests from here, from your local country, using marketing online tools, using SEM, Facebook ads, and all the different platforms that you can use from here to try to understand the key metrics in each of the countries that you want to launch. So those kind of tests are, you don't need a high volume, a high investment or a high budget for that. We're doing tests in some countries in Latin America with 2,000 euros or 5,000 euros just to try to understand where is the engagement of the users, where is the CPA, the acquisition cost, and then once we have understood that, then you can make the right decision of which of those countries that you have previously tested are the right ones before committing a bigger investment. And then once this is decided, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be hiring local people, but we're not going to be crazy in there. We're going to be starting with one key person, sorry. And that key person is going to be a salesperson that knows the market, and we're going to be creating the team around that person once we know that our product works, because we have done previous tests, and once we have, of course, some kind of investment to run the business in that country. That is something that will depend on the nature of your business.
Well, I guess
Javier.
my case might be a little bit simpler. So I mean, like if you're developing technology, you don't necessarily need to invest so much in marketing. Well, it depends on your business plan. But if what you have is a technology that needs to get started and you want to have like first clients and so on, from my perspective is that you can start pretty cheap. So I think I'm going to be the only one probably here seeing some figure, but we started with something between 50,000 to 100,000 euros. That was our budget to start in the United States. And that covers all the travels because you're going to travel a lot. That covers the office, which is quite expensive in New York. That covers hiring one person. I think it's very critical that you make connection with the ecosystem there. So you need to hire someone from the city where you're going to be basing, and that person is going to help you to grow and get introduced into the community. So we started I think we started very cheap, and I think it can be done very cheaply. It's more the cost in terms of opportunity for the company, the problems that you might introduce into your structure. For suddenly you are less productive because you have to manage two companies. You normally have to manage, like budgets and different things. I mean, like there's some associated cost and in terms of resources and money. So it's not necessarily just how much it costs me in terms of economically, but all what is going around. The loss of focus. So you have a company that's super focused on doing something, and now suddenly you have to learn an entire new, like country in terms of taxes and accounting. You have to find the people. So I'd say like the biggest investment is in time of the executive level. I'd say, and that's probably the one that you really need to measure very quickly, very well, to be sure that you can actually afford it, that you're not going to destroy your own company by moving to something else. So, but yeah, that's our own experience.
Sergio.
Yeah, in our case, we've seen two phases. Let's say the first one has been to screen and research new markets. That's the cheapest part of the business, which is basically traveling, hotels, and events through, for instance, the ETHEX. So that might be representing around like 50,000, 60,000 euros per year, just to give you some example. But afterwards, it's a little bit different when you are setting up operations in one country, in one big and expensive country, such as, for instance, Brazil. You need to take into account that you need to invest in a local team, and the return on investment, at least on the business we are in, which is B2B, it's around like 12 months, 16 months. So you need to make a very simple calculation. How many people you need for the first year, and that's going to give you the amount of investment you are going to need for this country. To give you an example, we have invested in Mexico around 200,000 euros, dollars, and in Brazil we are going to be investing around double of that, so $400,000. So that's a little bit the type of investment in our business we need to set up operations on these countries.
Surely a challenging situation. One of my experiences in Silicon Valley when startups come, usually they would arrive from Spain with a budget of $300,000, $400,000, the best case scenario. And usually the panic is 3-6 months into the operation when the money is going very fast. And I told the entrepreneurs always, remember to hire a good salesperson in the US, it's going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000 a month for one salesperson. That's the base salary. In addition to that, commissions. So money can go very fast, and you have to prepare for money going fast, and you have to prepare also for potentially sometimes hiring a salesperson that doesn't work for whatever reason. Salespeople usually are very good at selling themselves, and you have to manage them very closely because sometimes it doesn't work, and you need to get another person. Next question is about intellectual property, and that's a subject also that in Silicon Valley we see all the time. If you want to raise funds from a venture capital company in Silicon Valley, the VCs will ask you for intellectual property protection. It is essential in their perspective, that you can create barriers to entry in your own business, and patents, even if it's a patent pending, it's just an application, copyrights and so on and so forth is substantial. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown of what you've done, if anything, on intellectual property protection? Some businesses don't have, especially in software, it's harder because you cannot create a patent around software, maybe copyrights, maybe if you have an algorithm you can patent it, but it's not easy. What have you guys done internationally to protect your intellectual property?
Yes, as you said, Jordi, investors, they like patents. If you have a unique technology, they want you to protect it with patents, and I think that even more in the US.
In our case, we can't pattern our technology, so the only thing that we can do is grow faster than the rest of the competitors before they start to copy us.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. In our case, we might be a little bit of a special case, but I hope it gets better, gets more popular. So we are actually an open source company. So we disclose all our technology for anybody to use, and we see our advantage on the service that we provide. We think the value is no longer on the code itself, the value is on the service that you provide. So in that sense, you have to run really quickly, and you have to ensure that you're providing a service that is better than your competitors, and that's the biggest protection that you can have. With that being said, actually one of the biggest liabilities of problems of going international, particularly in the United States, that it's kind of a fear, is this patent trolling, actually. So how you get exposed to, potential, patent issues. So someone, as in the United States, it's very common that as soon as a technology it proves itself to actually be working and be successful, you can start having problems of many lawyers actually, going through patents. And that's also something that you need to be aware. You need to grow really fast, so you have enough of the size before it happens to you. But you also need to have very good advice on the process. So there's also risk when you're going international in technology, particularly in the United States. Like, it really feels like you are less covered than you are in Europe. So in Europe, there's no software patents, but in the United States, there is software patents. And they can destroy entirely your business. So it's always, it's something that you have to think about. Don't overthink it. If not, you wouldn't do anything. But it's something to take in consideration for sure.
Yeah, Sergio?
We are a service provider, and we haven't gone through this type of problems or liabilities through our business. So I don't have much to add to this unless, yeah.
So you all just need to go out there, run. The one that runs faster gets there faster, right? So when you run internationally, do you run to one market, two markets, a region, multiple regions? How fast do you start attacking new markets? What's your experience? What have you done in your business?
Of course, it depends on the kind of business that you have. But depending on the business, you have to go like market by market. And if
in your case,
in our case,
Ludei experience, what did you do?
In our cases, we have this software as a service. We launch it everywhere, and we have developers from all the countries in the world, from China to, I mean, Europe, to everywhere in the world. Yes.
You are going global, all markets at the same time. Juan?
I think that there are some synergies when you are launching internationally to do some countries at the same time. When you launch a new country, you need to do some stuff in your local market with your product team, your marketing team. And when you're launching just only one country, that the results you're going to be obtaining are, and all this work and all this preparation for going internationally is going to be only used for one country. So I think it's very positive. Once you have made the decision of going internationally, think about launching into 3 or 4 countries. Because then, for example, if you are hiring marketing managers in your local country to be working for every specific country, they're going to be learning a lot from themselves. So that's something actually that, for example, Rocket Internet is doing very well. They're like, when they say we're going internationally, they hired like at the same time 5 people internally, 5 country managers, 5 marketing managers of each country. And that produced a very positive communication between them, and they learn from each other. And it's something that we're going to be doing in the next countries that we're going to be doing. We want to launch more than one at the same time.
Very good, very good. Javier?
Yeah, again, probably in our case might be a little bit different because we're talking about technology that gets sold on the internet. So I mean, you're basically going for all markets at the same time. I mean, like, of course, you have to decide where you put your marketing efforts and things like that. But I mean, my suggestion in terms of technology, it's normally United States is probably the easiest market to start with. The reason for it is the size. Size, common language, common way of looking at business. So I mean, so you can do almost the same business in New York and on the East Coast, the West Coast, and like you don't have to adapt your materials. It's just simpler. They are also more willing to accept the risk of going with new products. So that helps a lot. So that we see that as a difference. Also, when you're in the United States, getting access to, for example, European countries is also easier. So it's actually normally technology gets tested in the United States and then kind of like a spread, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's the current situation. I mean, except of WhatsApp, which is kind of like a very big exception. But most of the time, you actually want to succeed first in the United States and then prove yourself somewhere in the rest of the world. So I say like, yeah, I mean, from my perspective, to really try to get one huge market, which is United States, and then move on. And actually, most of the time, it just comes along. So suddenly you're selling in the United States and you start getting leads from other countries just because they look at the United States for technology. Mm-hmm. So that's my experience on that.
Yeah, Sergio?
Yeah, in our case, let me just tell you, like a couple of months ago, I changed my computer. And I was cleaning my hard drive, and I saw a presentation made 4 years ago for an investor, a possible investor. And I saw the presentation, and I saw that Gigigo was going to be international in France, Italy, UK, Germany, Portugal, and with these ABCD services. And all this plan 4 years ago is nothing to do with what is right now our international presence, which is basically Brazil and Mexico, and a little bit in the United States. And the services we were planning actually to use to go international were nothing to do with the ones we are using right now. So if I were to be interviewed in the Financial Times, I would say I've planned everything, but all the way around. It's been like a little bit, wow, there is an opportunity, we have resources, and we have the team, and we have the contacts, we have the business model, let's go for it. And if you're lucky and you see a client that tells you by any chance that I might have a budget for this, then it's big news, so you set up operations. That's a little bit what happened in our case, actually.
Very good. Next topic is venture capital fundraising. And I'm going to start with Sergio because I think he's going to respond very quickly on this one and move to the next panelist. How much money do you raise? How much money do you need to start a business? And what's been your experience in fundraising for an international business, a global business? Is internationalization, globalization something that the VCs really, or the angel investors really like, or they don't value that high? What is your experience? Sergio, you're going to respond very quickly.
Good question. We haven't raised any money at all. We've been bootstrapping from the very beginning. So basically, getting the money you are getting from the clients and putting investment on some other things. That's what we've been basically doing for the past 5 years, 6 years. And I have nothing against venture capitalists and business angels, but if you have resources, why the hell are you going to dilute your company to someone that thinks that know more than you about the business, and which is a little bit opposite? I know that there are some VCs around, so please don't take this as personally, but we might need in the future, but up to now we've been growing with our own money.
Very good, yeah.
Well, we actually consider the same, so we bootstrap all the way.
You bootstrap as well?
But you do the same also about VCs, okay? Otherwise,
yeah. No, actually, I think there is value on VCs when you actually have the intention of going to other markets, especially if you look at VCs on those countries. I mean, so they can be the door to open some of those markets. I mean, like you need contacts, and they're very good contacts. That's it. So I think you have to think on VCs. I mean, of course, I mean as an investment vehicle, and as they are, but also as a contact, you know, like kind of like as an entrance sometimes to a market. So I think there is value in them. Of course, I also believe I think one of the reasons probably why some of these companies have we've gone international like that is because we are tough. We managed to actually, you know, work with our own resources and go, and that actually prepares you very well, because I mean, we don't go to the United States and start, spending money like crazy. You really look for every single bill to ensure that you can operate another month. Yes. And I think that makes you very resilient. Yeah. And I think that's
excellent.
My experience.
Yeah. Juan?
In my opinion, there are like 3 levels for be appealing for an investor. I think that if you're only in your local market, Spain, you're going to be interesting for just Spanish VCs. If we want to get money and to raise money international, you have to be at least in another country. I think that London is an easy opportunity because it's quite close, and you're gonna, it's an Anglo-Saxon country, very similar to the US. So I think it's the quickest and easier option. But I think that the third level is to be in the US. It's absolutely different. If you manage to be there, then you're going to be much more appealing than being in Europe. So I will truly recommend to jump into the UK and raise there, and then go to the US. If you're focused into raising and creating a unicorn.
Yeah. And Eneko, very quickly, we don't have a lot of time
so
left.
we raise funds from 2 Spanish VCs, very nice people. Some of them are here, Kibo and Vitamina K. And now we are raising funds from Silicon Valley investors too.
Very good. We have 2.5 minutes left, so last question for every one of you. What's been the biggest error that you've made in building a business, okay? In technology companies, by the way, we don't call it errors, we pivoted. We pivot, okay? So what's been the largest pivot, the most important lesson that you would share with other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, you know that entrepreneurs, we make tons of mistakes, but regarding the internationalization, I think that the biggest mistake is that the world is moving into Asia. I mean, the center of the world is moving to Asia, and we don't even realize how important that is. So my mistake is not going to Asia earlier. So now I'm going to China and trying to do things in Asia, but it's very important for everyone.
Yeah, Juan?
In our case, it was to hire too much people in the first step. When we started international, it's like we hired a team of 8 people in the beginning in London when we didn't have anything, and right now we're going to be changing. We're going to be just hiring 1 person, after that the rest of the team. It's like,
in our case, probably was trying to do too many things by ourselves. So like getting into problems of accounting and like lawyers and things like that. So you can get very quickly into a big mess. So I think that was the error, not asking for help a little bit earlier.
A little bit like you. So my first mistake was to think that we could do things by ourselves and not hiring people smarter than you, actually. That was the first mistake.
Okay, very good. Well, we have a few seconds left. I want to thank our panelists. And also, as a representative of the California, Spain Chamber of Commerce, thank you all for attending this event. Thank you very much. Okay, gracias.
I'm sure that the comments, views, and advice we have been offered with by the panelists will be of great interest for many people, many persons, many entrepreneurs present today here. Some of them already playing on the global scene, and others already ready to participate in this adventure, in these ventures as well. Now I have the honor to introduce His Royal Highness, the Prince of Asturias and Girona.
Thank you so much. I'll just be a few minutes. There's a lot of events going on here in Barcelona and the FIRA, so please bear with me. I'd like to greet the mayor that's with us, Alcalde, and president of Mobile World Capital Barcelona Foundation, delegada del Gobierno, secretario de Estado, consejera delegada del ICEX, director general de FIRA, señoras y señores. Well, greetings to you all attending this wonderful event for the first time 4 years from now within this Barcelona Mobile Week, we could call it. And thank you, Mariano Payá and Jordi Argente for the great job putting together this great panel of Spanish startups with a global outreach and ambition. Great job, thank you. I'm really delighted to participate in this 4 years from now event, an initiative launched by and for entrepreneurs, which is only one of the many activities being organized to support and to strengthen the entrepreneurial ecosystem all over in Spain. The last few years have not been easy at all. This might sound like an understatement. It is not. It has been tough, and for many it continues to be that way. But I won't tire you anymore about the crisis. We all need to move on, to look ahead. Nevertheless, it turns out that during these same years, and despite the many difficulties, both here in Spain and across Europe, a dynamic entrepreneurial spirit has re-emerged, has strongly geared in, and this, I'm certain, will catalyze progress in our societies, boosting economic growth and employment. The participants in today's panel are a very proof of this entrepreneurial drive. In this sense, allow me just a few seconds to mention or highlight what the very dear foundation for me, the Prince of Girona Foundation, is doing to help our youth acquire an entrepreneurial spirit and culture that may equip them to respond more effectively to their challenges and aspirations as professionals and as citizens, to be the designers and managers of their own future. The Impulsa Forum of the Prince of Girona Foundation, the awards, and especially the Education Entrepreneurial Talent Project, which is focused on teachers and schools, are good examples of how we're trying to contribute to the profound change of mentality and attitude in our youth that we see so necessary to be more resilient, more successful in the future. A future that's obviously always full of risks, but also full of opportunities. This is good for them individually, but it's also good for all of us as a society. However, for that entrepreneurial drive to lead to tangible results, not only do we need high hopes, but we also need a great deal of effort, of hard work. Hard work is something that you, self-starters and entrepreneurs, know very well, because entrepreneurship means taking risks, learning from your mistakes, soldiering on without waiting for someone else to solve your problems, and constantly facing fresh challenges. Creating a company means walking a long, tough road, keeping your eyes on the goal of turning a business idea into a thriving reality. I would like to highlight the training and positive mindset of our young entrepreneurs. They are, you are, men and women who not only have an excellent education, but are also full of determination, courage, and a drive to excel, which I believe and should be contagious. With your efforts, you are building a personal and professional future, while also seizing the opportunity to contribute to the progress of your country, of your city, of your societies. All of this is the result of a great deal of hard work, as I said, and a well-earned self-confidence. A few months ago, I had the opportunity to witness this, to see it for myself, in the heart of Silicon Valley, where a growing number of Spanish young entrepreneurs are contributing from abroad to the progress of companies also here in Spain. Some of them are doing so through the Spain Tech Center in San Francisco, our new platform to facilitate the landing and commercial implementation of Spanish high-tech companies. I have also met in recent times many other Spaniards that are top executives in leading global corporations, something that is always rewarding and a great source of pride and hope for us. One of the main characteristics distinguishing the members of today's panel is that the majority of your projects were born with, as we've heard, an international vision from the very start. These projects were designed to compete with the very best on a global level. There can be no doubt that today, internationalization is not an option, it's an obligation, especially in the case of innovative high-tech enterprises. In a nutshell, now is the time to create, to innovate, and to launch ideas and companies that can become worldwide references. We need more self-starters, more entrepreneurs. We must make it possible for entrepreneurial initiative to consolidate into viable business projects in the areas of innovation and technology. For startups to become solid, innovative, competitive companies with high growth potential, creating jobs and added value, which we need so much in times like these. And we must have and encourage them to do it, as you propose in this panel, on a global scale. I have had the opportunity to see how some of the world's leading corporations have acquired some very interesting Spanish startups. We must, and are also collaborating with them on different projects and products. We must promote more of such collaborations, facilitating opportunities for these multinationals to also establish in Spain centers of excellence, centers of research, development, and innovation. You can also count on the support of institutions like ethics and others which can contribute and continue to make a major impact in by coordinating their efforts to help self-starters and entrepreneurs. We must, all of us, together, foster a favorable environment able to make our ideas and our companies grow, creating wealth and jobs, and achieving an economy of scale, enabling them to better face challenges and difficulties. And I would like to end this by wishing the greatest success for this 4 years from now event. I would like to give all of the organizers a big hooray. Well done, Barcelona. And to all of you who have made it possible, and all of you self-starters and entrepreneurs, I wish you the best of luck. We will all try to help as much as possible. Good luck. Thank you.